Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure and privilege to introduce our speaker for today's webinar, Dr. Pius Ojo Akingba. Dr. Akingba is a distinguished dairy and food processing expert, consultant, mentor, and industry leader with over 4 decades of practical experience in Nigeria's food and beverage industry. His remarkable professional journey spans some of the most recognized food and dairy brands in the country. Beginning with Fan Milk Nigeria in 1983, he went on to contribute to the development and optimization of food and dairy operations, including Jobitex canned sardines at Inter Sardine Company Limited, Farm Fresh Yogurt at Wamco Integrated Farms, Home Fresh Yogurt, Farm Pride Yogurt and Fruit Juice, Nagari Yogurt, Mezube Yogurt, and more recently, Super Cow Dairy Products. Over the years, he has been actively involved in food manufacturing, dairy processing, quality management systems, plant setup, product development, operational improvement, and technical capacity building. Dr. Akingba holds a degree in food science and technology, a postgraduate diploma in dairy technology from the Netherlands, and an MBA in marketing from Obafemi Awolowo University. He is a professional member and patron of the North Central chapter of the Nigeria Institute of Food Science and Technology and has received several national and international recognitions for his contributions to leadership, industry development, and professional excellence. As a consultant, he has advised numerous food industries, development initiatives, and government agencies, helping organizations improve product quality, processing efficiency, food safety standards, and profitability. Today, as Chairman and Chief Executive Officer of Jibod Nigeria Limited, he continues to provide practical solutions, training, mentorship, and technical support to food and beverage businesses across Nigeria and beyond. What makes Dr. Akingba particularly unique is his ability to combine technical knowledge with real-world industry experience, offering practical insights that entrepreneurs and processors can immediately apply. Please join me in warmly welcoming our speaker for today. Please join me in warmly welcoming our speaker for today, Dr. Pius Ojo Akingba. Dr. Akingba, the platform is yours.
Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Pius Uju Akimba. I'm here to present to you a recap based on the webinar produced on the 30th of May, 2026 on products to profit. Due to bad network, we couldn't record, and most of you couldn't get a good view because of the bad network. I will quickly go through and deliver everything without any omission, including the question and answer. Allow me to share my presentation with you. Thank you. All right. We are here this evening again to do the recap on food products to profit. I will actually make reference to agriculture where products are being produced from raw part of it, such as mango, cassava, oranges, vegetables. From product to profit, practical foundations for food business growth. From the word product, it's a value addition from agricultural products. You know, we produce all foods from the farm. And based on this, we have a lot of post-harvest losses. In order to reduce the post-harvest losses, that's where we come about different products from value addition in agriculture. And tonight, we'll be talking about the products to profit. Let's quickly go into the presentation by introducing the topics to us fully. Our introduction goes thus. Understanding opportunities in the food and beverage industry is based on the current population of about 250 million in our population today, and in 2030, a projected population of over 300 million justify the demand for food pattern in Nigeria. Why many food businesses struggle despite having good products. This is based on the consistency and awareness creation. The difference between producing food and building a business is based on system management. Our food processing facility is just not building, it is a safety system. If the design is wrong, no SOP, no training, no inspection can fully correct it. Let's look at design and flow. And before we actually go into design and flow, it's telling us the positioning of production floors, the utilities, the raw materials, and management of the production flow. So let me quickly give you a story from a flow issue. Some years back in 1985, I was setting up a multinational dairy factory in Lome, and one of the products to be produced is called set yogurt. And looking at the flow of the equipment, one of the major equipment was not available, which is called an incubator. And we need to do it. So if we need to do it, we need to import the incubator, which will take us about 6 months. In order to design something locally, I went around the factory and we found that a boiler house housed in a glass building gave us a suitable environment in terms of temperature between 44 to 45. And this is exactly what we wanted for the set yogurt. So we made a trial, and at the end of the day, the trial was successful. And based on this trial, 1,000 liters of the set yogurt was produced commercially, and it was successful. So from this angle, it follows a design and flow of the system, and that was why we were able to get it. And we have saved time based on local arrangement rather than depending on importation of the incubator, which will have taken a longer time. In actual sense, a food processing facility design is the strategy arrangement of production areas, of equipment, of the flow to follow the production of a particular product. And all this one is just to ensure the smooth operation, to comply with the regulatory advice, to produce product, and to be able to scale up in terms of expansion. And any poor facility design can cause cross-contamination, poor infestation, workers' production bottlenecks, difficulty in cleaning, sanitation, and regulatory failures. Good facility design helps maintain hygiene conditions, separate raw materials and finished products, store, improve cleaning and efficiency, reduce communication risks, increase productivity, and certification readiness. What are the core principles? The principle is just to support the movement in one direction. One direction in the sense that from raw material to finished products, and improve cleaning efficiency, reduce contamination risk, increase productivity, and certification readiness. And the core principle is to facilitate, support movement in one direction, from raw material processing, packaging, to the finished goods storage. This prevents backflow of contamination, either from the product, finished product, to raw material in operations. Separation of high-risk areas, separate it from raw material, raw processing area from finished product, from chemical store, and from waste handling areas. Physical separation can be done with the walls, with the it can be done with stainless steel, and it can be done with partitionings so that the areas can be defined separately. Management of hygiene, equipment, placement. Let's look at the personnel flow control. Workers can transfer contamination, so we have to control staff activities in terms of hand washing, food sanitization, changing rooms, food dips, and hygiene to guide against barrier at the entry points. Everything is just to control safety. Staff should be organized to prevent cross-contamination, separate visitors from production staff. When we talk about ventilation and flow, normally you allow air from the clean area to the less clean areas. That's where the design works. Proper airflow reduces moisture buildup, mold growth, and airborne contamination in the process. Drainage and waste management. Good drainage prevents standing wastewater, microbial growth, bath cleaning, and sanitation areas management, and staff welfare in areas that are key. This leads me to a story of a factory that want to move from its present place to another place based on expansion of the market. And the challenge they have is that how would they control waste in terms of wastewater usage in the factory, because it's a new place and the place is rightly situated in the city. I was invited, and when I look at the flow, we have to calculate the amount of wastewater to be generated from their plant capacity. And we're able to say, for instance, if you are doing 1,000 liters of yogurt, you need about 10,000 liters of water required, and the waste is going to be generated from it. So we need to calculate from them the total amount of waste that will reduce or will be into a soccer way, that will reduce the biological oxygen demand and the chemical oxygen demand. All this will reduce the waste and pollution when released into an open drainage. This is also key in the design. Let's look at a design of a flow system. In the dairy industry, you have a milk reception, you have a cooling tank, you have cream separator, you have an homogenizer, you have a fermentation tank, a filler, and from the filler, it's going to be stored in a cold room before all the quality parameters are satisfied, then released for consumption. Understanding food business growth. Food business growth is the process of moving food from food venture, from simple survival to profitability, stronger market presence, and long-term sustainability. There are 3 stages involved here. The first stage is when you just started and you are thinking of getting the customers, producing consistent food, and managing your cash flow. In the second stage, which is called stability, the business has been stabilized, but you are experiencing a growth by the demand for your product. So you look at, intensify more on your recipe development, and you have to predict your sales. The focus here are standard recipes and processes, clean production, packaging, improvement, basic record keeping, and staff training. The third stage is the level of expansion. And when you are expanding, the business starts increasing in production and entering new markets also. What are the growth signs? More distributors and retailers are required, higher production capacity, better equipment, stronger brand recognition, increased profit. Let me liken this to a small restaurant that was set up based on only 20 customers. Within 1 month, the demand of the food in the restaurant, because of its quality, went up to 100 customers per day. And there is no facility that can support this. The owners start running helter-skelter. And in an attempt to satisfy the needs, the consistency, the quality drops. And this confirms that every scalable business must be planned for. So we must be prepared to plan for any scalable business. So at the scale level, the business operates professionally with a system beyond the owner. This is where the system has been set up Even if the owner is not there, they follow the SOP, raw material, SOP production, SOP quality control, till the end of the finished product. And all these will justify consistency of the product. What are the signs that you see for a scalable business? You see multiple lines being requested for. If you have one line of product lines, more lines will be produced, maybe 2, 3 within the same roof, because the structure have been done in such a way to support scalability. Structured management, the organogram is super. Instructions will pass from top management level to down level. Certification will not be challenges, and compliance to the certification legal facilities will be in perfect form. There will be no difficulty in registering with NAFDAC or SON or weight and measure. This is a scalable business level. Wider distribution will be required. Partnership and investments will be on. What are the key drivers? Product quality is key. Quality builds reputation faster than advertisement. Taste is consistent, safety is assured, packaging is attractive, and the shelf life is reliable. Branding. A good brand develops more markets. So good branding should include clear product identity, professional packaging, consistent messaging, that is the expire date, the production date, the batch number, the usage, and the storage condition should be spelled out. Customer experience is not left out too. We must understand the market. Do not produce what you like, but what solves a market need. Know what the market actually gains. Price sensitivity is key. Consumers' trends, competitive actions. Don't say you are only producing, you have to compare your prices, your qualities for further improvement. On branding, a strong brand helps customers remember the trust on your products. Let's look at the picture of these different brandings on the juice and on the yogurt. They look beautiful, and the ingredients and other details of quality branding is shown. So we should try to emulate this when we are doing branding for our products. Financial discipline is key in growth of any manufacturing company. The growth depends heavily on correct pricing, cost control, profit tracking, and reinvestment. The efficiency of production increases profit without necessarily increasing prices. How food safety and compliance. Food safety is not just compliance, it is a business advantage. This entails the following: clean processing environment, poor labeling, good manufacturing practice. Let's listen to a story on the production of juice on safety level. I have a contact with a customer who is doing juice, and the complaint was that every time I send my juice to the market, within 2 days, 3 days, the bottle will be swollen. Some will explode like a bomb in the supermarket. And based on this, sales have reduced drastically. And discussing technically with the manufacturer, we find out that the SOP production was not put in place. SOP raw material was not put in place. The process of destroying all the pathogens, all the germs in the juice was not put in process, which we call non-pasteurization. Pasteurization is the heat treatment given to destroy bacteria. So when you don't apply heat to the juice, after you have extracted it, what happened? You have not killed the bacteria. So what was the solution proffered to the manufacturer? I recommended a heat treatment to be able to destroy all the bacteria in the juice. We did a trial and the product bottled, labeled, can store in the display cabinet of the supermarket for more than 1 month. It therefore means the consistent method of producing juice is key and essential in maintaining the safety and the brand of that product. Let's ensure that good manufacturing process is put in place always. The display of natural juices is recommended for storage under a regulated system in order to maintain the quality attributes and the shelf life. Ladies and gentlemen, we cannot be talking about all these processes without looking at our own mistakes. The common mistake that slows down growth in a manufacturing process are as follows: undervaluing products, inconsistent quality, poor packaging, lack of records, and ignoring customers' feedback. Growing too fast without a system. This will affect the growth of industry. Our practical growth structure and strategies starts small but professionally. Even if it is small quantities you start with, start professionally so that you can maintain your consistency, you can maintain your taste, you can maintain all the aromas required for your product. Then you will maintain a consistent sales. Build your customer trust based on the attributes that I've mentioned before. Reinvest profit. If you make profit, don't spend it on enjoying yourself alone. Think about tomorrow. Reinvest part of your profit into your manufacturing equipment so that scalability will not be difficult for you. Learn continuously. You can't be developing your sector without acquiring modern knowledge. You must be trained. Your staff must also be trained. There are more modern methods in processing today. So the techniques in food technology must also be acquired. There are new innovations in packaging. Why not study and know them? Preservation methods also are getting better on a daily basis. Now, people are running away from chemical preservation. They tend to use organic preservation such as natamycin and niacin. Let's try and explore all this one to make our products healthy and organic. Let's look at a simple formula for food business growth. The formula is quality plus consistency plus trust plus financial discipline plus market understanding, which is equal to sustainable growth. We need to talk about pricing because this is what stabilizes the growth of any manufacturing company. And I will start by telling you a story. In 1983, precisely 84, 83 to 84, we were trying to set up a canning plant in down Lagos, and we were trying to produce sardine and some canned foods. But we were not really in to determine the cost of this product. The shortest way that we think is to go to the market and look at the prices of the imported similar products and pick an average and sell our products same. We did it and we start selling. Along the line, we discovered that we are undercutting our profit because we are running at a loss. We need to slow down. We slow down and put in all the direct costs, all the indirect costs, and all the hidden costs that we experience in the line. And we were able to come out with a higher price, higher than what we were selling. Initially, we were afraid to introduce the price, but if we don't do that, the factory will die because you cannot support a factory with losses. You have to support your factory. So we decided to push it to the market. Within 6 months, we realized that we have cheated ourselves by not doing the right calculation on pricing. Therefore, many food business fail because they price based on emotional and guesswork instead of actual cost and value. Profitable pricing means every product sold contributes to growth, salaries, equipment, marketing, and future expansion. What are the price components? We talked about direct costs. Now we're talking about raw materials, packaging, labels, processing inputs, fuel, gas, electricity, and so on and so forth. Indirect costs, talked about your rent, if you are renting your apartment, staff salaries, transportation, equipment maintenance, marketing, and what you pay for regulatory services like NAFDAC, standard, and weight and measure. Now, when you put all this together, we derive a formula. And what is the formula? Cost of production plus desired profit is equal to the selling price. So if you want 40% as your desired profit, add it to your cost of production, you will get the actual selling price. Example, if you have a loaf of bread, your cost price is 100 naira. If you are selling the loaf of bread for 150 naira, by calculation, your markup is 50%, and your margin is at 3.33%. Markups are what truly matters for a sustainable business in this country. What are the strategies required on pricing in order to get it right? Stop copying competitors in the marketplace. Price according to value and not by fear. Always include hidden costs. Hidden costs are such costs that you have as a result of losses on the line or wastage on transit. Create different profit levels for products. Use a higher margin products to strengthen your cash flow. Review prices when required. Don't be afraid. If your cost of inputs have gone up reasonably high, you have to effect it on your prices. Otherwise, you will not have money to go and buy the next raw material. Avoid emotional pricing. Build profit into growth. System scaling. Type of system in food business. you'll be talking about raw material sourcing system, production planning system, quality control system, packaging system, inventory, sales and delivery, consumer feedback system, staff training system, and financial tracking system. Why do system matters when we are talking about scaling? Why do system matters before scaling? Quality becomes inconsistent, production delay increases, waste increases, staff become confused, customer complaints increase, profit disappears despite higher sales. Everything depends on the owner. Staff constantly ask questions. Production changes every day. Customer complaints about inconsistency. You run out of raw materials unexpectedly because it was not planned. Orders are delayed often. Profit cannot be tracked. You are just working. You can't track your profit accurately. Expansion feels stressful instead of exciting. What are the essential parameters for small-scale operations? For small-scale operations, you'll be talking about equipment, different equipment. Every setup required different equipment. But the major thing that should stick to your brain is that no equipment should be made of non-stainless steel material. That is, all equipment should be made of stainless steel food grade, because there will be no rust, there will be no leaching of metals into the food. Everything will be supported by the equipment. The picture you are seeing on the screen is 100% made of stainless steel with all the materials having contact with the product. And this is a complete packaging machine for stirred yogurt. It goes into the vessel, it's dispensed, and is covered with aluminum foil, stored in the cold room for 24 hours before all the quality control aspects are made and is sent out for sales. Example of the lines are, for the dairy, you have milk reception tank, you have cream separator to standardize the milk, you have a pasteurizer to destroy all the bacteria, you have homogenizer to make sure that the products are uniform, you have fermentation tanks, the filling, packaging, weighing scale, cold room, power, and other utilities like your water treatment and waste management facilities. On the juices, you have weighing scale, sorting, conveyor, extraction, washing, finisher, blending tank, pasteurizer, homogenizer, bottle filler, and a labeler with a bunch packer, power, utilities, and also provision for waste management. The smart buying tips. For you to buy equipment at different levels, either you're a small scale or medium scale, you need to know that equipment should be made to solve immediate production needs. Easy maintenance, easy cleaning, can support your moderate growth. All equipment should also be made of stainless steel. You can see that I'm emphasizing the stainless steel because it is key in the food business. No any other material is accepted in food business. Good equipment should improve product quality, should also improve safety and profitability of the product. Good equipment should also support scalability. I've told you about a story of a manufacturer that actually wanted to enter the production of juice. And he said, look, let me start on a smaller basis. And he ordered for a juice tank that can only hold 100 liters. Within 6 months, his demand got to 1,000 liters. And how is he going to do? The small equipment he has acquired can never meet the demand of 1,000 liters. So he has to order another bigger lines, bigger equipment. Therefore, he has lost time. The demand cannot be met until those equipments are. So any equipment you want to venture into, you should think about scalability. The good manufacturing practice is telling you about your personal hygiene, the clean environment, sanitation, product handling, storages, and why quality begins before production. It's a good question. Let me share with you the area of waste management because it also supports good manufacturing practice. There's a factory that have demand for its product multiplied by 2 is demand capacity. The factory was doing 1,000 liters of yogurt per day. Suddenly, the demand rise up to 3,000 liters every day. So he has to change site, move to a new equipment. But the challenge he has was that in the new site, there is no facility to manage waste because the factory is situated in the city. And if you don't control your wastewater in the city, you will be spoiling the environment. Everywhere will be smelling. And the law enforcement can close you down. So how did we solve the problem? I was invited. We need to go into calculation. How many liters are you projecting? How many water is required for that volume? On the basis of the calculation, we now arrive at the required volume of waste that is needed. So we did a construction where a sewage tank would be provided. Within the sewage tank, you divide it into 2, and the first compartment is to hold the waste for at least 1 or 2 weeks, where the biological oxygen demand and the chemical oxygen demand will be reduced, thereby reducing any offensive waste to be discharged to the community. Then the second compartment will fill up gradually and release the waste that have been treated gradually to a public drainage, and this will not cause any menace. What is the legality involved in food business? You need to register your company with corporate affairs, either as an enterprise, either as a limited liability company, private or public, all depends on your strength and the startup. Let's look at products labeling. We have talked earlier on about branding. For you to brand well, you have to put what the law requires on your label, like the ingredients required, like the nutrition, what is the required energy or calorie required if they take 100 grams of your product, the batch number, so that if there are challenges, you can trace it back, the expiry date, the storage condition, and how to use your product. These are based on legality. You can't joke with it. I tell you another experience with a manufacturer. Because of misleading information, a big challenge was set in. There are 2 levels of yogurt being produced. The sweetened yogurt, the ingredients are the milk, the water, and the sugar, the culture used. Those are the ingredients. Then in the sugar-free yogurt, you don't need sugar. But the printer who was making the label made a mistake. by adding sugar as an ingredient in the label of sugar-free. So when the customer saw it, said, look, I want to buy sugar-free yogurt. And he look at the ingredient and say, oh, there's sugar here. Does it mean that they added sugar to sugar-free? The shop attendant said, no, 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 let's open one. The customer declined that I'm not going to buy because of misleading labeling. So we have to be very careful in labeling because it's part of our branding and it's part of legality. Anybody can pick you up if you label your product wrongly. So I quickly advise everybody who's in the business, we have to look at the legality of our business efficiently because it drives our product. We come back to the market again. The survival of any company depends on the marketing. So you must understand your customer. You must get the key principle that sell a specific solution, build a stronger brand identity, good packaging and presentation. What they mean by sell specific solution? If you know that the market wants granite, shelled granite, prepare yourself to produce shelled granite and package it well for the market. The sales will move faster because the market is looking for it. The pricing, we have to price well, and we have to consider our cost of overhead costs, direct and indirect costs, apply our required profit margin before we get a selling price. Avoid guessing your price. So how do you market your products? Right now, the digital channels is being used, such as WhatsApp, Instagram, TikTok, and Google Business Profile. Offline, a word of mouth through schools, offices, motor parks, and partnership can work and sell your product. That's what we call personal selling. Common marketing mistakes. When you post only when your sales go down, it is not right. Everybody should put his product in the market, in the mind of people all the time. It is not only done when the sales is low. Poor food pictures. If you apply pictures that are not good, it's going to affect your presentation. Inconsistent taste, ignoring customer service, competing on only price is not good. Successful businesses win through consistent quality, visibility, customer relationship, fast service, strong branding, and repeat sales. Look at the picture that we have shown. We have talked about branding. Now the vehicles are branded beautifully. As you are going into the market, before people see the product inside, they are already seeing the beautiful. This will also make people to have trust, interest in your product. In conclusion, a successful food business is not built by producing food only. It is built by combining quality systems, compliance, and understanding the market. Small-scale food business do not fail because they are small. Many fail because of their buying decision on equipment before building a system. I have made reference to this previously. Many food businesses grow in sales but fail in profit because they do not understand numbers. And numbers are what is used to determine your cost of production, and then you add your markup to get your selling price. A food business grows when it moves from making food to build systems that consistently deliver value. Value is key in whatever you are doing. The goal is to build sustainable and profitable food brand. The viability of any manufacturing system depends on the quality and marketability of the products with the required margin. Growth without system creates pressure, while growth with system creates stability. Scaling is not about hard work, but building systems that work smarter. In food business, passion may start the journey, but system sustain growth. Thank you very much. We also have to mention that during the webinar, question and answer sections was also there. A few questions were asked, and I can then share with you the question raised by some of the participants and how the answers were given. The first question was, what do you understand by standard? What do you understand by SOP? SOP is standard operating procedure. And this cut across your raw material, quality control, finished goods, logistics, finances, all the operations that will make your product profitable and consistent. These are the ones that we call standard operating procedure. You have to put it down so that everything you do is consistent with your operation. There will be no personal change in the operation. Everything that have been put down have been tested and maintained for quality. Somebody also asked about recipe. Is it right to keep my recipe? Or how do I maintain secrecy of my product so that people will not steal my recipe to go and start another section? The answer is no, you cannot keep your recipe to yourself. We have discussed that you need to develop a standard operating procedure for production. You need to develop a standard operating procedure for your raw materials. You need to develop a standard operating procedure for quality, even for sales operation, for stock management, for purchase, everything you need a standard. Why do you need a standard? You need the SOP to maintain your product at a consistent level in terms of texture, taste, aroma. And this is what draws your customers to your brand. So the answer is no. Don't keep your recipe to yourself. Share your recipe with your team under a standard operating procedure that affects production. The recipe in plant A cannot work in plant B because they have different equipment setup. So don't be afraid. Stick to the standard operating procedure to enable you get consistent product all the time. Pricing. Another question says, how do I get the required pricing for my product so that I will not run loss? We went back to the presentation and says, you have to calculate all your direct costs, add all your indirect costs with your hidden costs. If you want 30% margin or 40% margin, you add it up to it and it will give you your selling price. If you do this all the time, you will have a standard pricing that will not make your product to be overpriced. It will only give you confidence that you are priced right and you are going to get the required profit. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to this recap, and follow me on Facebook, Akingba Pius, on Instagram, Akingba Pius, on LinkedIn, Pius Akingba, as shown on the screen. Thank you for listening again, and we hope to meet ourselves again on the next webinar.